welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel. That is the R in the RK Stumblingbear, and I am a reader and a writer. And I am back to talk about the seven novelettes that were nominated for the Nebulas, because I have now finished reading all of them. And just like with the short stories, I am going to put this in order from the one I liked least to the one I liked most. But if you do a ranking system, 5 of these were 4 stars for me, and then 2 of them were 5 stars. So I did really get along with these a lot better than I did the short stories. So we're going to first start off talking about The Brotherhood of Montague St. Video by Thomas Hott. This is an interesting one. We're following the main character who is currently going through their mother's belongings. Mom has passed away. But the society has the idea where nothing lasts. Just live for the present, have fun experiences, don't worry about owning stuff, which is kind of counter to what the main character's mom did. The main character's mom had a lot of things that could be considered nostalgia or really only had significance to her. While this main character is going through his mother's things, he also happens to go to the library and finds what they call a dead book, which I guess in this world also books are all on electronic devices, and if it's a dead book it means it can't be updated. So he reads this book, he finds it rather compelling because it's not like anything else that he's written. He's used to writing that's very clear, direct, simple, and this book meanders. And so the main character, as he's going through his mother's stuff, is selling it to this brotherhood, Montague of St. Video, which takes old ephemera, old things that have meaning. They can help make copies of videos without trying to remove pain or bad memories associated with it. And he asks this group if they want to buy this book, and they're like, we're not sure, but be careful because there's other people out there who will want to buy it just to destroy it. And our main character runs into somebody like that. This isn't an action-heavy novelette. I guess most novelettes and short stories aren't. They're more about the themes and the thinking. And this really is more about, why do you hold on to things? What do those things mean to you? Do you need to have them? Should you live in a world where you just live for the present and who cares? Because everything can just disappear. Everything can go away. Everything can change. So don't actually make attachments to things. Interesting thought concept. I then have Loneliness Universe by Eugenia Triantafylou. I mess that up every time. I really like Eugenia's writing, the short stories and novelettes I've read in the past, and so I was very excited to actually see that she has 2 novelettes here. And in the Loneliness Universe, we have a main character who gets separated into a splinter universe from everyone she loves. Anyone she makes a deep connection to, all of a sudden she's in a different, they're in a different universe. And she can see how they affect things, because she lives with her brother. So food will appear in the fridge, but she never sees him, can never actually talk to him. For a while they were able to play video games, and he even got her parents to do that with her so that there was some sort of connection could happen, because you could still text, but you can't call, you can't see people in person. And at first the main character thinks this is happening to just her, and then finds out, no, this is happening to a lot more people. No one knows why, but that's why it's called the Loneliness Universe, is because there's people in your universe, but once you try to make a connection with them, then they're gone. And I think this story is talking about how precious those connections are, old and new. Which I didn't need a story to tell me that for me, but I think it's a good reminder for others who are like, nah, I can just go on my own, or I'm, you know, I'm a complete loner. I don't need people in my life. No, we all need some people in our lives. Next, I have Joanna's Bodies, which is also by Eugenia, and this one was a trip. In this one, I forget the main character's name, but she has found a way to resurrect her friend Joanna, but Joanna can't go back to her old body. It's her spirit that now goes into other people's bodies, which why it's called Joanna's Bodies, because she has to then go to body with deterioration. And they have it eventually set up where they know for a certain time, at a certain point, okay, it's time for Joanna to change. Now, the main character always tries to find older women who don't have a lot of connections in their life, or they're at a point in their life where if somebody's like, we haven't seen you for a while, what the hell's going on? They can be like, yeah, just go away, leave me alone, and get away with it. No one's gonna like push back or argue. But Joanna wants a young body this time, wants to actually feel her age, or the age she would have been if she had not died. And Joanna is blaming the main character for her death. And there's a little bit of guilt because they had been childhood friends and then had been growing apart. And Joanna had been out looking for her when she was hit by a car. And I think this is a very good example of what a toxic friendship, toxic relationship can look like. I mean, I wouldn't have made the same choice as the main character at the very end, but I understand why the main character made that choice. Then I have Another Girl Under the Iron Bell by Angela Liu. And then this is kind of a Japanese-inspired story where it's talking a lot about women getting used for men's pleasures, the world's pleasures, and when they die, their spirits can be restless, and some of them come back as demons. And so the main character is a demon who was a girl who had been murdered by somebody. That part doesn't even really matter. And she's currently trapped in a contract with a monk to go kill people who the monk is contracted to kill or remove. Even that could be other demons, can be normal mortals. And she's wanting to get away from him. And it kind of cuts back and forth between a man who she had gotten along with, who thought he was in love with her, but she's like, I'm a demon, I can't really love you. Yeah, her newest assignment, where she has been given kind of like a minder or somebody who's supposed to go along with her, and she's supposed to kill this other mortal at the end of it. You know, it's very convoluted, but really it's not so much the straightforward story that's going on, it's really more the conversation of the continual abuse and misuse of women throughout the ages, and how by doing that we are warping the women to appear to be demons just for their own survival and just so that they can have a piece of themselves. I then have Katya Vasilevna and the Second Drowning of Baba Rekcha by Christine Hanosley. And this one is kind of Slavic inspired. I don't know if specifically Russian inspired, but definitely the Slavic side of things. Baba Rechka is a Rusalka, which is a drowned girl who then will drown men or people who wrong other people. And she meets Katya, who is a local girl. They become friends, start to like fall in love, and then Katya is sent away to get married. Baba Rechka makes a deal with Baba Yaga to have the opportunity to go see if Katya wants Babarechka instead. See if there's a way that they can have a relationship. And what I kind of got from this is sometimes you do need to fight for what you want. You need to put yourself out there. Because if Babarechka had never left her stream, her river, to travel farther, then, Katya would have just been gone for good. Also, the relationships you make are important because our friends and family are the ones who help us to become who we want to be. So I found this a very sweet story. I then have Negative Scholarship of the Fifth State of Being by A.W. Prihandita. And this is a very interesting story. I think one of the reasons why I connected to it is because I work in the public health field. And in this, we have a main character who is a doctor practitioner, which means that they have an app or a set of apps, and as long as the person who comes in who needs help is in this database, then they can help them based off of the information that they have. And in comes an alien species that hardly anyone has ever worked with, and the main character is like, I can't help you, I have no data about you. And they're like, look, I have been to so many different sources, it has to be you. And it's illegal for the main character to try to treat people on their own. For that, you have to be a doctor scholar. There is a program that they can buy. It's really, really expensive. The alien helps her to get it, and there's like diddly squat of information in there. And she decides that she's going to help the alien anyway. It's just a very sweet connection story with another alien race. And also, I think, great commentary on what is the actual purpose of medicine. Is it to do what the government tells us we can do, or is it to actually help the patient that is in front of you and to talk to them and get input from them? Yeah. Again, because of me working in the public health field and seeing all the regulations that come down from federal and state governments that put barriers in between actually helping people. You can't talk about certain topics because it says you can't if you want this grant. Yeah, pisses me off. But did help me to connect to this character. And then my favorite novelette was What Any Dead Thing Wants by Amy Ogden. And in this, we have a world that has been terraformed. And for this to happen, it means you have to wipe out whatever life was there first. And the main character is part of the group who goes through and makes sure after the terraforming has been done that everything is set up right and that any lingering haunts or spirits from things that had been there before are put to rest. And while they're working on that, in walks a human ghost, which is not supposed to be there. And it makes the main character really reflect on, is what we're doing correct? Should we be wiping out alien species and creating just new places to live versus fixing what we already have, even if it's going to be expensive or take time? Shouldn't we take care of what we have? Which has a very big environmentalism conversation, which I think is applicable to our current world. I think it also has a theme of acceptance and how do you help somebody to accept that something has changed in a way that they did not want, but it doesn't mean that it has to hold them back either. So different ways you can read this one. I will link all of those novelettes down below in the show notes so that you can read any of the ones that sounded interesting to you. If you have read any of these, I would love to know your opinions, especially if they're not the same as mine. I enjoy discourse. And I will be back when I finish more Nebula or Hugo reading. Thank you and have a great day.